Alright guys, welcome back, and in this video I'm going to show you how to work with checkboxes, and our starting point is just a blank button. So what we'll say is we're going to make an application where we are opening a sub shop, or actually, did you know that some people call subs like hoagies, from Subway? Some people call them hoagies, and I heard people call them something else really weird. I can't think of it right now. If you know, leave me a comment. But yeah, we're gonna open up a hoagie or a sub shop, and we're gonna have a bunch of different options. What do you want on your sub? Turkey, ham, lettuce, tomato. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some check boxes. The user's gonna check all the stuff that they want, and then they're gonna hit like click me or order. Let me change that to order now. Not an order now. Order now. Alright, so that's our starting point. Let's go ahead and make some checkboxes. Alright, so it comes from the class checkbox, so make sure that you have this imported. And I'll just call the first one box1. Well, actually, I only have two options, but the technique is the same whether you have one option or 100. So set this equal to a new checkbox, and you can set, well, 99% of the time you also want to include a label, and this is the text that appears to the right of the checkbox, and you always want to have this so the user actually knows what the heck they're trying to check. The reason that you might not have this is, I don't know, maybe you're making your own custom like grid layout and you're going to have the labels like on the left hand side or whatever. But anyways, that is how you make a checkbox. So let me just copy this, and I'll make another one right under it named this one can be for tuna. So again, these subs are pretty boring. You can get either bacon or tuna on your sub, and you can also have both if you want. But anyway, since we're using a vertical layout, then these are going to appear right under each other. So whenever I add them to the screen, I'm going to add box 1, then box 2, and then the button. So again, this is what we got going on so far. Have two checkboxes, bacon, tuna, so the user can select whatever they want and hit order now, and then it will eventually submit their order. Now another thing I want to point out is this. You see how by default nothing was checked? If you want to have one of these boxes checked by default, maybe you are like selling pizzas and you always want to have cheese checked by default, then what you can do is this. You can say something like box 2, which would be tuna. You can say set selected true, and this is just going to go ahead and check it by default. Again, the user can still uncheck it if they want, but whenever your app launches, it's going to have a little checkbox by default. Alright, so they check whatever they want on their sub and they hit order now, and nothing happens. So how do we actually check what checkboxes are checked? What options are, what toppings does the user want on their sub? Well, what we need to do is under this button, actually let me change this to Bucky's subs. I'll say Bucky's meat subs. That could be the name of the restaurant. Just meat. What if someone called a sub restaurant and you're like, what would you like on your sub? And they just like, do you guys have any meat? Yeah. Okay, I'll just have a meat sub, please. That's stupid. What am I talking about on the tutorial? Alright. Meat sub. Meat sub. Where do I come up with this stuff? Alright. So button. What do we want to occur whenever the user clicks this button? Well, let's just go ahead and make a method called handle options. Now inside here, we're going to toss in box 1 and box 2, and in the method we'll just say whatever options they selected, we'll just print out on the screen. So private void, we don't really need to return anything since we're just printing it out in the terminal, and it was called handle options. Let me add a comment. Handle checkbox options. Alright. So again, it takes two parameters depending on how many checkboxes you have. Checkbox, I'll just keep the same names. Box 1, checkbox, box 2. So we're passing in both of those checkboxes in here, and for the message that we're going to print out on the screen, I'll just call it string message. Alright. Yeah, I forgot my semicolon. Alright. So how do we check if a checkbox is selected or not? It is incredibly simple. All we do is we get a reference to whatever checkbox we want to check, and we call the method isSelected. Now this is going to return true if it's checked, and it's going to return false if it's not checked. So now I can say if it is selected, we'll just add something to the message. So the first one was bacon, and we'll just say, I don't know, we'll just write bacon. And we'll just put like user's order right here so we know what's going on. And might as well pop a new line on that. Alright. So now we can just do the same thing with checkbox 2. And we'll say if box 2 is selected, then add on tuna to that message as well. Alright, now system out. Massage. Alright. So now, of course, whenever you run this, what's going to happen whenever we click order now, both of these checkboxes are going to get passed in, and whenever the user does have something selected, for example, let me just order a tuna sub, it's going to say user's order tuna. Now they can of course check both of them, user's order bacon tuna, and if I clean this up a little bit, just add some new lines and make it look a little bit prettier. Alright. So as expected, they can order tuna, bacon and tuna, just bacon, and they can actually place an order for nothing since we didn't check for that, but you guys can figure out how to do that really easily. So anyways, that is how you create checkboxes, how to give them default values, whether they're checked or not checked, and also how to extract whatever options they check from them. So yeah, simple as that. Thank you guys for watching. If you want any of this, then I'll stick it on my GitHub page for you guys. And well, see you guys later.